West to Long Beach, California, where basketball fans from as far away as Auburn, Alabama can enjoy a stroll along sandy shores or visit the majestic Queen Mary. The mood here is mellow, definitely California, until one walks inside the Long Beach Civic Center, where 8 teams came west with the dream of Dallas. Game 1, UNLV moved one step closer, sending Northeast Louisiana home shaking their heads. Game 2, the devastation of Pepperdine by Maryland's Len Bias. Game 3, St. John's Walter Berry went down in pain, but it was Montana State that would suffer defeat. To center stage now comes Auburn senior Chuck Person. He's been here before, but it's his last go-round. Across the floor, Arizona's 18-year-old freshman Sean Elliott. Tonight he plays in his first NCAA tournament. Chuck Person has led the Auburn Tigers in scoring the past 3 seasons. Tonight, one will go home, the dream over. The other will move on, one step closer. Coming up, Arizona versus Auburn. California, the Long Beach Arena just south of the city of Los Angeles for tonight's West Region encounter between the Wildcats of the University of Arizona out of Tucson and the Tigers from Auburn, Alabama. Everybody, and welcome to Long Beach, California. These 2 teams have arrived in contrasting methods. Auburn, with 5 returning starters, was a preseason pick to win the SEC. They struggled, however, and had to win their last 6 games to finish in a tie for second before getting the tournament bid. Arizona was a preseason pick to finish 8th in the Pac-10. They have shocked everybody and won their first Pac-10 championship and earned the right into this tournament. Our expert analyst is Larry Conley, and Larry, this really should be an interesting matchup.
Bert, I think it will be. It's a game of power versus finesse. You look at Auburn, a powerful club, a very muscular club. They like a high transition game. You look at Arizona, a club with 2 freshmen, a sophomore, a 6'6" center, and a slow white guard that nobody wanted.
Well, his name is Steve Kerr, and he is healthy tonight. It's Arizona versus Auburn, the final game of the first round of the NCAA championship.
Tonight's West Region first round game is sponsored by Hilton. Hilton, America's business address. And by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light.
We're back in Long Beach, California for this final first round encounter between Arizona and Auburn. First time either of these teams have met each other. The season records for both teams. For Arizona, really a Cinderella year. They are seeded 9th in the West region. Finished the season with a 23-8 season record, 7-8 on the road. They are 2-4 versus teams also competing in the NCAA championship. For Auburn, they're the number 8 seed in the West, 19-10, including that run of 6 in a row before a tournament loss to Mississippi State. 9-9 on the road, and 4-6 versus teams in the NCAA championship, giving an indication, Larry Conley, that they have had a very difficult schedule with all those teams already in the tournament.
Martin, they really have. And when we had a chance to talk to Sonny Smith today, he told us, he says, I purposely scheduled tough games in December to get my club ready for March. They're here.
Auburn started off 6-4 and then finished 19-10. And now let's meet the players who will start in tonight's game with Greg Katz.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Long Beach Arena. Tonight's NCAA Tournament West Region opening round game hosted by the Cal State University Long Beach 49ers. Tonight's game features the University of Arizona Wildcats and the Auburn University Tigers. And now introducing tonight's starting lineups. At forward for Arizona, freshman 6'8" from Van Nuys, California, number 00, Anthony Cook. At forward for Auburn, a sophomore 6'7" from Atlanta, Georgia, number 34, Chris Morris. At forward for Arizona, freshman 6'8" from Tucson, Arizona, number 32, Sean Elliott. At forward for Auburn, Auburn, a senior 6'8" from Brantley, Alabama, number 45, Chuck Person. At center for Arizona, senior 6'6" from Pasadena, California, number 50, John Edgar. At center for Auburn, a sophomore 6'7" from Birmingham, Alabama, number 40, Jeff Moore. At guard for Arizona, sophomore 6'6" from Cloverdale, California, number 20, Craig McMillan. At guard for Auburn, a junior 6'1" from Augusta, Georgia, number 12, Gerald White. At guard for Arizona, junior 6'3" from Pacific Palisades, California, number 25, Steve Kerr. At guard for Auburn, a junior 6'4" from Kissimmee, Florida, number 15, Frank Ford. And the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats, Lute Olson. And the head coach of the Auburn Tigers, Sonny Smith.
You've met the starting five. You've been introduced to the head coaches. It's Arizona versus Auburn from Long Beach, California. Tip coming up. Back for the start of the Arizona versus Auburn game, and one of the keys early in this game will be the help of Steve Kerr, the junior guard. He had strep throat for the last 8 days. Wasn't until Wednesday of this week, Larry Conley, that he was able to eat any solid foods. He lost about 8 pounds.
Bernie's an integral cog of this Arizona team. He really is. He's the leader of this club, and every player on this team, including Lute Olson, the coach, feels like he is the one that's going to be responsible for where Arizona goes in this NCAA tournament.
We're underway from Long Beach, and Steve Kerr is the first to touch the ball, wearing number 25. Quickly to Sean Elliott. Back to Craig McMillan. That's Kerr on the baseline. Underneath to John Edgar, the 6'6" center. First shot of the game is good.
You know, it's interesting. Today, Sonny Smith told us we're going to do a reversal in thinking and defense. We're going to let the ball come inside because we fear Arizona's outside shooting.
So you can look for the Auburn defense to allow the ball to get inside, particularly to Edgar. That is the philosophy going in. Alley-oop, tipped away. Anthony Cook, one of 2 freshman starters for Lute Olson's Arizona team. Kerr to the left side, McMillan. Edgar once again. Back to McMillan, he'll take the jumper. Tipped, controlled by Jeff Moore of Auburn. Frank Ford across the timeline. Shovel pass back to Person, quickly underneath to Morris. And that'll be Arizona's ball.
A little mishandling right there by Morris. It was a good pass to him, breaking on the left side. That's what Auburn likes to do best. They like the transition game. They'll push it up the floor. Lute Olson, on the other hand, would like to get this into a half-court game and keep it in the 60s.
That PAC championship, the Pac-10 championship, the first ever for Arizona. Foul is on Jeff Moore, number 40 for Auburn. That's his first of the game, first team foul. Arizona did make it to the NCAA tournament last year. Lost the first-round game to Alabama, 50-41.
It's a little ironic, I think, that they're playing the cross-state rival of Alabama in the first round this year.
That's right. Kerr from the corner, off the iron, rebound taken by Sean Elliott. That is one of his weaknesses, is rebounding. It's the one area where Sonny Smith, or rather Lute Olson, wants him to improve.
Auburn wanted to open up man-to-man, but they've gone to a zone. They're basically in a 1-2-2, and you can look at Arizona now. They're trying to attack from the outside. I find this a little surprising. There's a good lob.
Sean Elliott, it's 4-0.
Arizona in his own defense right now. You see McMillan and Kerr really the top of the zone right there, and they've got 3 good leapers on the inside. There's Person.
Chuck Person from the corner. Rebound comes down. Tussle. Arizona's ball. Let's look at that lob once again. The pass perfect to Sean Elliott.
Here's the co-freshman of the year in the Pac-10, also second team all Pac-10. How about that catch and jam?
Steve Kerr, junior out of Pacific Palisades, California. He has been the key player this year, really, other than the emergence of Sean Elliott.
Auburn's changed defenses again now. They've gone away from that zone, and they're back into the man-to-man. Arizona has recognized it.
Sean Elliott. Too strong. Gerald White of Auburn comes out with the ball. Jeff Moore will pass him the shot. White will take it. And it's a 4-2 Arizona lead.
I think you can look to see Arizona maybe slack off of Gerald White. They don't have a lot of respect for his shooting ability from the outside, but they're really going to concentrate on Chuck Person, who is an outstanding player.
Anthony Cook has it stripped away, but McMillan gets it back. Now Steve Kerr looks left, holds it.
You see White on Kerr out front. Kerr has a great reputation as a great long-range shooter.
McMillan back to Kerr. And Kerr will shoot it from anywhere 25 feet or in. Now Elliott. 4 points for Elliott and a 6-2 Arizona lead. Whistle and a foul called on Steve Kerr. That's the first against Arizona.
I think that's something else you can watch for Auburn to do. Once that basketball goes through that net, they're very quick about getting the ball out of bounds and getting it up the floor quickly so that the Arizona club does not get set up on defense.
Larry, if we said Steve Kerr's health might be a key for Arizona, what is going to be the tip-off to how Auburn's going to play?
Well, I think what you're going to see, if you start to see him get a little fatigued, I would think Auburn really will begin to concentrate their offensive thrust right at him. Really try to push it toward him.
How about the play of Chris Morris?
Well, I think in this basketball game, Person's going to get his. The key for Auburn tonight is really the play of Chris Morris. And, you know, he's got that broken nose and he's wearing that face guard. Could be a big problem for him.
His own coach said that Chris Morris this year has been a puzzle to himself and to the team. Jeff Moore, good strong rebound.
And perhaps to a lesser extent, Jeff Moore. Chris Morris just took off his face guard. He just threw it off to the sideline.
Interesting because he re-broke his nose yesterday in practice. Nose was originally broken prior to the Mississippi State loss in the SEC tournament. It was broken again yesterday. He was practicing without it and was going to try and not go with it from him. There's Elliott again.
How about that start for that freshman?
He's out of Tucson and signed early with the University of Arizona. He did not make any other official visits to any schools.
A 6'8" point guard.
Chris Morris, Frank Ford, Chuck Person.
Offense.
Anthony Cook took the charge.
Watch it again. Chuck Person. You're going to see it down low with our camera angle here. Watch him push off with this other arm that's free. He went straight into him, took him with the body, with the hand. Foul on Chuck Person. He would go to Arizona.
Second team foul on Auburn. 15:38 to go in the first half. Arizona leads and has led throughout.
Auburn back in their man-to-man defense. I think that's really the best defense for them to play against this Arizona club.
McMillan. Now Gerald White on Steve Kerr, number 25. Sean Elliott has 6 points. Here's John Edgar. He's going for his fourth, and he's got it.
So far, the strategy of Sonny Smith is not working. The ball's coming inside, and Edgar has hit both of his shots in there.
Auburn was so fearful of the long-range bombing, particularly of Kerr, but also of Craig McMillan. Now Gerald White. There's the alley-oop. Oh, my gosh. That's got to give credit to Chris Morris.
The ball went in the basket. It was not funneled in by Person. Morris threw it in from the outside.
Chris Morris made the basket inadvertently. McMillan. Back to Kerr. He'll take the jumper. Gerald White with the rebound, and here comes Auburn. Great pass back to Morris up to Ford, goaltending. Watch Chris Morris try the alley-oop, Larry.
Folks, this is not the way it's done. If you're going to lob it up to Chuck Person, you got to make sure he can get it. And he just threw the ball up and in. Look at Chris Morris. He looked over at Sonny Smith as if to say, is that the way you do it?
That is a flat-footed, broken-nosed three-pointer, except it only went for 2.
We're not a company.
Still underway tonight in the NCAA Championship. Notre Dame and Arkansas Little Rock are notched at 51 in the second half. And earlier today, now Notre Dame has taken a 2-point lead, even as we speak. Pepperdine fell to Maryland here, 69-64, in a very well-played basketball game. Arizona brings it across the timeline with a lead.
Gerald White did a nice job on Kerr, keeping away from the ball.
Sean Elliott, Chris Morris goes after it. Elliott lays it off to Anthony Cook, and he's got 2. Freshman to freshman.
Lute Olson's got to be awfully happy about having those two young men around for the next 4 years.
Anthony Cook from Los Angeles, as are many of these Arizona players.
Look at the configuration on the Arizona zone defense. You see it's a 1-1-3. Then when the ball goes to the corner, they drop way deep in the paint. Good rebound by Arizona. Sean Elliott.
Rebounding a key for Arizona in this game because it's expected that Auburn will out-rebound them. Currently, Auburn has a 4-3 edge. John Edgar, goaltending. That's one on each side.
That's a young man that just came into the game. Mike Jones, can he get up?
Your alma mater won today by 20. Eddie Sutton's doing a terrific job there.
Sets up an interesting matchup. Western Kentucky against Kentucky.
That should be Maryland defeating Pepperdine. I think the graphic had it 64-59. It was 64-69, and Maryland won. That game played here in Long Beach. There's Mike Jones, who's off the bench, number 13, first sub of the game. He accounts for 64% of the Auburn bench scoring. They don't have that strong a bench. Steve Kerr. Elliott loses it. There it is once again. Maryland over Pepperdine, 69-64. Good solid game.
Sets up an interesting rematch, too. Las Vegas going back against Maryland. Sonny Smith, the coach of the Auburn Tigers. We had a nice visit with him. He's a very humorous man.
We're underway in the first half.
Arizona's going to stay with that zone defense. It's a 2-3. When the ball goes to the wing, you'll see McMillan float into the middle. Watch he and Kerr kind of alternate on either side of that circle when the ball moves around the perimeter.
Matter of fact, Sonny Smith said this morning that one of the keys for his club is to detect those subtle changes in defensive strategy that Lute Olson throws at him.
The three guys on the inside for Arizona really don't move very much, but it's McMillan and Kerr that do all the movement outside. 9
on the shot clock. Down to 7. There's Chuck Person, and it won't fall, but the tip is good.
Look like Morris. Chris Morris got it.
It was Chris Morris. He's got 4. It's 14-12 Arizona.
Morris having a good ball game. He's really shutting Elliott down after Elliott's great start.
That ball off the hand of Gerald White. Lute Olson now 51 years of age in his 3rd year. Here's the first substitution. Terrence Howard comes in for Auburn. And Gerald White will sit down. There's Sean Elliott, number 32. Almost taken away by Person. It will still be Arizona's ball.
Yeah, Vern, I see more and more college basketball teams going to that double team out of the side, out of bounds. They come and rush the person who receives the ball inbounds, and then the floater always tries to catch up with the passing angle. That time, Chuck Person almost got the steal, and they've just done it again.
Back to Kerr. You saw the clock with just about 12 minutes to go first half. Arizona has led throughout. John Edgar. Chris Morris.
On a kicked basketball, you always reset the clock to 45 seconds, and that's what just happened. They kicked the ball, so now Arizona will get the use of that full 45 seconds for a shot.
And the first substitution of the game for Arizona is Joe Turner, number 33, who had started 7 games earlier this year, replaces Anthony Cook.
Here comes the double team again.
That's Howard and Morris. Finally, Edgar gets it. McMillan, skip pass over to Steve Kerr.
Auburn almost looks like a swarm of bees. They really charge after the basketball. Another double team in the corner.
McMillan passes on the shot that might have been there.
You know, Sonny Smith told us he was going to do this morning. He said, I'll go out and trap where I can. Here's Kerr.
Steve Kerr gets his first 2. Played only 29 minutes in the last game Arizona played. That was last Sunday against Arizona State, a loss for them.
Here's a good angle right here of that zone defense. You see McMillan go all the way to the corner. Now Kerr drops back in the middle to help.
Person not having a hot start. Frank Ford does get the follow and puts it off the glass.
Frank Ford, one of the better rebounding guards in the country and one of the better players, I think, on this Auburn club. Sonny Smith said today he's the guy that really has carried me the last 3 weeks of the season.
He said, as a matter of fact, he has had a great year. Craig McMillan. Joe Turner. Underneath the John Edgar. Nice, strong move.
He went down. I think he's hurt his ankle, Vern.
Edgar with 8 points may have twisted the left ankle.
You know, sometimes what happens in a situation like that, when you come down, you inadvertently step on somebody's foot. Let's see if, in fact, that's what happens. Watch the ball come inside right here. Good dish. Watch Edgar make the move. He turns, he goes up strong with the basketball. He gets the basket. You won't see him right here. You see him crumble right there? I think possibly he stepped on somebody's foot.
Sits down at the end of the bench, and the trainer will get to him quickly. Now, full court press employed. Anthony Cook has come back in, replacing John Edgar.
We're seeing a little bit of everything here in the first half. Lute Olson and Sonny Smith pulling out all the stops. We've got pressing, changing defenses, and now Auburn's going to look at that very repetitive Arizona defense. They got it into a 2-3 now.
Another substitution for Auburn as Jeff Moore has come back in. Frank Ford rejected. Sean Elliott, the 2-on-2. Steve Kerr, and Elliott pulls up. Comes cross court to Greg McMillan. Handed.
That's the one thing Auburn feared, was the outside shooting of Kerr and McMillan. They're showing it now.
Timeout has been called here in Long Beach with Arizona leading by 6. 10-17 to go first. The Arizona bench on John Edgar, a twisted ankle, but he will be back in the lineup.
Well, let's see what caused it, possibly. He goes up strong with a shot. Watch him come down. You can see him buckle his knee, his left knee right there, but it was the ankle that really, I think, it looked like he might have fallen on Mike Jones's right leg or right ankle.
Arizona is hitting now 10 of 14, 71%. Auburn hitting 54%, and Arizona has the lead. We are in Long Beach, California. Vern Lundquist and Larry Conley here with a final first-round game from the West region. Under the 10-minute mark now in the first half, Terrence Howard saves what could have been an errant pass.
Arizona's done a nice job in the first half with this zone defense. They've really limited Auburn's ability to get the ball on the inside.
Chris Morris tries to get it underneath. There's a battle, and Frank Ford controls for the Tigers. Shot clock down to 12.
Oh,
Mike
what a move by Jones.
Great move.
Left-handed.
That's 4 points for the freshman, and a 20-16 Arizona lead with 9:30 to go first half.
You've got two of the better freshmen in the country, and Sean Elliott and Mike Jones playing in this game. You're going to hear a lot about them over the next several years.
Elliott bounce pass back to Steve Kerr. Kerr is 1 of 3 so far. There's a steal by Jeff Moore. Terrence Howard almost loses it. Takes the jumper from the baseline. Elliott battle for the rebound. Foul on Frank Ford. Sonny Smith now in his 8th year at Auburn. Recall that he resigned last year, and then after the tournament reconsidered, moved back. His wife Janice suffered a very serious stroke back in July, and Sonny said this morning, when that happens, your priorities really change. But she is doing fine now.
She's doing terrific. We saw her last night. She's getting along well.
Greg McMillan, number 20, underneath Anthony Cook. Nice soft touch. Uses all the iron and falls through. A 6-point Arizona lead again.
Again, Auburn tried to rush the ball up the floor that time, but Arizona must have seen a lot of films on Auburn because they're getting back on defense very quickly.
In many cases for Auburn this year, it's been a feast or famine situation. There's Chuck Person, and it just won't fall for him. There's Jeff Moore. He loses it. The Tigers are shooting 50% for the season, but that's an average because they've had many games where they've been up in the upper 60s. Many more they've been below 40. Arizona, 9 of 23 wins when leading after 5 minutes. Now John Edgar back in.
They've also hit 6 of their last 6 shots.
22-16, first half from Long Beach, California. Arizona and Auburn first meeting. Chuck Person misfires. McMillan. Top of the basket backboard. That'll be Auburn's ball.
Right now the game seems to be flowing in the direction of Arizona. The defense has been able to keep the ball away from Chuck Person on the inside, which has forced him to the outside of that zone defense, and he's not nearly as effective at that long a range.
Arkansas Little Rock leading Notre Dame by 5. Jeff Moore puts it down, picks it up, too strong. Anthony Cook. Steve Kerr. That one is short.
Yeah, he looks a little fatigued to me. I thought he threw up that shot almost half-heartedly.
Gerald White, that won't fall. Lute Olson said this morning that yesterday in practice, he knew that Steve Kerr was not feeling strong because those shots were hitting the front iron. Illinois over Fairfield 75-51. Alabama defeated Xavier 97-80.
Again, Auburn will try to look to the inside. They've got more position in a pretty good block down there low. They've moved Person now down low, and Jones is on the other side of the block.
Chuck Person is 0 for 5 so far in the game. Back to Frank Ford.
If you're going to push that zone defense back in that far, you're going to give Frank Ford a field day, and he got it from 12 feet.
His 6 point has got the lead to 4 now, 22-18. Michigan over Akron by 6. And Iowa State in overtime defeated Ron Harper and Miami of Ohio, 81-79. He's a passive kind of player, very quiet until he erupts at the most unexpected moments.
He ignited this crowd. That brought them to their feet.
Frank Ford. Chuck Person, his 6th shot. He finally hits one. He's 1 for 6.
I'm going to tell you what, it didn't look as good as the stuff, but it still counted the same.
24-20, Arizona leads. They have led throughout. And we are 6 minutes remaining in the first half of play, just over 6 minutes.
See Edgar back in the game, Vern, now. It's good to see him moving around.
Good fake. That's the first shot he's missed. He was 4 for 4 until that basket. Now Gerald White, top of the circle. Mike Jones. Should be an offensive foul. Yes, player control foul. Take another look at that stuff by Craig McMillan.
Good screen right here. They cut Ford out front. See him get screened. Watch him move around to the inside. Craig McMillan says, I'll take advantage of that. And he went right by Mike Jones to shove it down. Good play by McMillan.
McMillan from Cloverdale, California. Syracuse trounced Brown at home. St. Joseph's over Richmond by 1. Cleveland State in the big upset of the day, knocked off Indiana by 4. Our score, 24-20. Arizona with 6:02 to go first half. Steve Kerr, 1 of 3, shooting 1 of 4 so far. Underneath to Sean Elliott. Chuck Person with a rebound.
They handle the basketball. 6'8", 215.
Good bounce pass right side. Fine rebound by Anthony Cook, as Arizona has looked good on the board so far.
Yeah, Vern, that's really frustrating to get the ball off on the board, make a good defensive play, dribble the length of the floor, and make a good assist, or what you think is going to be a good assist, and the man that shoots it misses the easy shot.
Both coaches felt like a rebounding edge, if it stayed even, would indicate a favor for Arizona. And it's fairly even right now. 11 rebounds for Auburn and 8 for Arizona.
Sean Elliott with a turnover right there. Cook was baseline trying to make a move to the basket, travel the basketball, and Auburn will get it back now. They're just down by 4.
Navy wins big, 87-68, and moves into Sunday play. That's the second consecutive basket for Chuck Person, the only senior starting for Auburn. And it cuts the lead to 2, 24-22. Terrence Howard. Craig McMillan back to Steve Kerr.
Oh, how about that one? That one came from the Queen Mary.
Lute Olson said he's the best pure shooter he's ever coached in 30 years, and also the best leader he's ever had. He's a fascinating young man from Pacific Palisades, California.
Arizona going to stay in that zone defense. Now watch Auburn attack, and they've got White in the corner.
He's not known for the long-range shot this year, but that one is good. Ken Lofton getting ready to come in now for the University of Arizona. It's been a dandy so far. Arizona is up by 2. Conclusion of every CBS Sports NCAA tournament broadcast will be selecting a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player for each team. Chevy donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school to further assist qualified students in all chosen academic fields. There is an interested spectator in this game, the head coach of St. John's University, 61-year-old Louis Carnesecca.
Indeed he is. He won this first game today, 83-74, and he will face the winner of this one, the Arizona-Auburn game, so he is very interested. Here's a man, Chuck Person, right now. All SEC 3 years in a row. Missed his first 5 shots here tonight, but has hit his last 2. I think he might be getting on track, Vern, getting ready to play his typical game, which is an outstanding one.
Well, he has been in double figures 95 of the last 97 contests, and he is starting tonight his 115th consecutive game, the all-time leading scorer at Auburn University.
And in fact, the number 4 scorer in the Southeastern Conference's history.
A guy named Maravich, I think, leads that list, doesn't he? Pistol Pete. Coming up at halftime, we'll go back to New York. Brent Musburger with scores and highlights of all of today's action in the NCAA championship. And then, of course, a triple header tomorrow for you on CBS and another on Sunday. Anthony Cook passes on the shot. Ken Lofton has just come in the lineup, number 11. There's John Edgar. He's been the offensive force. He and Sean Elliott for Arizona here in the first half.
Well, we thought the ankle might have been bothering him, but obviously it's not.
Person, 3 in a row. Looks like Steve Kerr.
Getting loosened up.
6 points. First Chuck Person, 28-26 under 4 minutes. Sean Elliott short with a shot. Person with a rebound and a chance now to tie for the Auburn Tigers. It'll be Person for 4 in a row. No. But White with a rebound. Off balance shot is put up and he draws the foul.
Looks like Ken Lofton might have received that foul.
Field goal percentage so far, Larry. Excuse me, 61% now. And Auburn has increased to 54, so they've gotten closer together.
That's outstanding shooting for both clubs. It's been a well-played first half. I think both Arizona Wildcats and the Auburn Tigers are to be complimented. They've come into this game. They've not been tentative. They've tried to show what they can do offensively, and they've done very well.
Lofton is out now, and Steve Kerr, having gotten a rest, is back into the lineup for Arizona.
I'll tell you, it's been a relatively error-free game also. Sonny Smith had a great quote today about this Arizona club. He says, when they turn the ball over, he says, everybody in the state is shocked.
Well, as a matter of fact, Auburn has turned it over 4 times, and Arizona only 3. Earlier this year, Arizona tied a school record by turning it over only 4 times in a win over UCLA. There's a block underneath.
You don't reset the shot clock after the ball's been slapped out of bounds, only on the kick, so they're going to have to go back and run the clock down.
And it is in the process of being done right now.
It's interesting. You know that happened in the first game we were watching tonight.
That game was St. John's victory over Montana State. And now it's down to 34. Walter Berry suffered an ankle injury in that first game, but did continue playing, though it looked like he was feeling some pain.
Auburn's gone to his own defense on this trip only because the ball was out of bounds. They'll stay in it on an out-of-bounds play.
Yeah, but not for long. Not with Kerr doing that.
I don't know if I wouldn't stay man-to-man with Kerr and McMillan out front.
30-28. Person short again. And Kerr is almost tackled by Gerald White. Now Sean Elliott tries to find the open man and does as McMillan gets it across. McMillan to Steve Kerr. Back to McMillan, who will try and emulate Kerr, and it doesn't happen. Gerald White with the Auburn Tigers, a chance to tie. Nice drive. Lays it off, puts it up, Chuck Person.
Well, how about that? Person might get the basket, but Gerald White gets the assist, and it was a great play. Penetrated down the middle. Person looking for the pass, got it. Here comes Chuck Person, Vern.
Gerald White with 187 assists coming into the game tonight. Led the team. There's a foul. Chris Morris. In that first game tonight here in Long Beach, it was Montana State matched up against St. John's. And this is Walter Berry, player of the year, thought to be by some, Larry.
Well, you're going to see him go down right here, and he turned his ankle. A lot of us who were sitting there watching, in fact, we were right underneath the basket there when it happened, thought it was really something serious, and he did limp through most of that basketball game, but they ended up winning, and he got 31 points, so it couldn't have been hurting too badly.
There's his head coach, Louis Carnesecca. St. John's will meet the winner of this game. There's Kerr again. He's just deadly. And was not offered a scholarship by any other university in Division I when he was a senior at Pacific Palisades.
You know, Vern, he was the guy I was talking about at the top of the show. Nobody really wanted him. And in fact, Lute Olson got him after his senior year. He saw him play that summer.
There's Kerr with the steal. Passes on the shot. Back to Elliott, who'll take it. Too strong. Chuck Person with a rebound. Under 2 minutes remaining, 32-30, a chance for the tie. Chris Morris.
Oh, what a play. See, Morris can't do it regular like everybody else. He has to throw everything up, underhanded, out front.
4 players with 6 points now for the Auburn Tigers. Underneath to John Edgar. Edgar with the rebound. Has a chance for 3. Here's a transfer. Passes visiting a City Junior College or City College last year, and shortly after the season began, fractured his eye socket and suffered from double vision most of the year.
They were concerned he was not going to be able to play this year because they didn't know what his vision was going to be like. It looks pretty good right here because he can see that basket.
He's been one of the real keys to this successful year for the University of Arizona. Jeff Moore checking back in now for the Auburn Tigers, number 40. And Mike Jones will get a rest.
Edgar's really caused a lot of problems for this Auburn defense because they really didn't expect the scoring from him that they did for McMillan and Kerr. But he's done a great job for Arizona tonight.
Misfires on the chance for 3, and it's a 2-point Arizona lead with 73 seconds to go first half. Vern Lundquist, Larry Conley. We come to you from Long Beach, California. Chris Morris across to Chuck Person. Frank Ford. 25 left on the shot clock.
Arizona did a little bit of a matchup out of that zone defense now. They set up 2-3 and then match up out of it. Person got into the middle but couldn't get the shot.
14 left on the shot clock. Underneath the Jeff Moore, he walked. Nope, foul.
Nope,
Yes,
they're going to give him travel.
This has been, I think, a very well-played first half.
An excellent first half. Both teams have shot the basketball well. We've seen a lot of outstanding plays. We've seen some very unusual plays. But I think both teams have got to be complimented. They have played well. We've gotten the game out of Kerr we expected. Person right now I don't think is up to what we expected from him. But there's still a half to go.
Steve Kerr to Greg McMillan. Shot clock is off. We've got 25 seconds to go in the half.
You'll see Auburn double team out of this 1-3-1. What looks like a 1-3-1 zone defense. They'll go to the corners. Almost a steal there by Person.
Back to McMillan to Kerr. Joe Turner, number 33. John Edgar. Kerr will take the last shot. It's blocked by Chris Morris. Joe Turner drives, puts it up. Not a very good shot. And that's it for the first half. 34-32, CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
It's a very important game for the Pac-10. They have not won an NCAA tournament game since the 1984 tournament. Now, earlier tonight on the same floor, St. John's battled past gutsy Montana State, but it was a long, tough day for the Redmen. They learned that Marco Baldi had been suspended for 16 games by the NCAA. Walter Berry twisted an ankle, came back, and he had St. John's up by 7 at the half. But the Bobcats hung tough and stayed in it. Tony Hampton with a great move here for the hoop, and he also drew the foul. Now watch Ron Rowan sealed up by the Montana State defense, and all alone is Willie Glass, and he goes for the jam. And afterwards, Louis Carnesecca said, man, am I happy to get out of here with the win. 83-74, St. John's wins that one. Earlier this afternoon in Long Beach, Maryland and Lefty Drizel hold off Pepperdine. 69-64 was the final in that one. UNLV also a winner at Long Beach, 74-51. So the two games there on Sunday afternoon look this way. St. John's will play the winner of the game you're watching right now, and Maryland goes up against UNLV. They played earlier this year, and UNLV was a 1-point winner in that game. Now, the Midwest region. Notre Dame having trouble with Arkansas Little Rock. 83-77, only a minute 30 to go in that game. Earlier, North Carolina State battled back against Iowa to win 66-64 was the final. And in a dramatic overtime game, Iowa State eliminated Miami of Ohio 81-79. Here's how the winning basket was scored.
Get it to him and do. He'll get the shot. It's a good one. What a shot.
Jeff Hornacek with the winning hoop, 81-79 for the Cyclones. Michigan with all kinds of trouble this afternoon, 70-64 over Akron. And so the two games in Minneapolis look this way. North Carolina State appears to be headed for a game against Arkansas Little Rock. And then Iowa State, Johnny Orr goes back to coach against the team that he once led into the championship game where he was beaten by Indiana. And our coverage of the road to Dallas here in the Final Four on CBS will continue in just a moment. Charlotte, Kentucky, a winner by 20 over Davidson. They will play Western Kentucky next on Sunday afternoon. Western Kentucky eliminates Nebraska 67-59. And after the game, the Nebraska coach, Mo Iba, announced his resignation.
I have resigned as basketball coach at the University of Nebraska to pursue another head job. That's...
Question says he had a job offer.
I have no comment. That's all I'm going to say. I've resigned to pursue another head college job.
It has been rumored that Danny Nee, the head coach at Ohio, could be headed for Nebraska. Alabama, a winner over Xavier, 97-80, the final in that one. Illinois beats Fairfield, 75-51. So the two games there on Sunday afternoon, and they're two dandies. Kentucky against Western Kentucky, and Alabama will take on Illinois. The East up in Syracuse, as expected, playing in the Carrier Dome. Syracuse blew away the Ivy League champions, 101-52. And Navy had another big day from Dave Robinson. He had 30 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 block shots. They whipped Tulsa. Cleveland State eliminates Indiana, and so Indiana, the only one of the top 16 seeds to be knocked out of this tournament now. And Clinton Ramsey, whose brother Kelvin plays for the New Jersey Nets and went to Ohio State, he was the floor leader for Cleveland State. He had one great move after another against the Hoosiers this afternoon. Watch this one coming up here. And the Cleveland State bench knew that they had pulled off the upset, and Kevin Mackey, who was a former assistant at Boston College, got the job done for them in that game. Earlier, St. Joe's over Richmond by 1 point, 60-59. So the two games in the Carrier Dome on Sunday, St. Joe's will now go up against Cleveland State, and Navy will see if they can handle Syracuse on its home floor. Now, let me update for you the Notre Dame score. With time running out, we are inside of 50 seconds, 45 seconds exactly, and Arkansas Little Rock is going to beat Notre Dame, apparently. It's 86-78. The Irish just scored a hoop to tighten it up. Let's hear it for those little teams that everybody was knocking. Cleveland State, Arkansas, Little Rock. They didn't just give in, did they? They came and played great games. And we'll continue with the second half, Arizona Auburn, in just a moment.
Beach Arena in Long Beach, California, the final game of this West Region first round to get together, with the Arizona Wildcats leading Auburn by 2, 34-32. Going into the encounter, the Arizona Wildcats, Larry, felt like if they could stay close and rebounding, they would be in the ball game, and they've done that so far.
Indeed, they have. They really are staying in the basketball game, and it's exactly where they need to be at halftime. They're up by 2 points, and you can see the reason why. The rebounding, obviously, and the turnovers have been a big factor.
Auburn does have the edge in rebounding, but it's only 16-11, and both coaches felt like that was a key. The other key, from an Auburn perspective, was lack of turnovers, and they've only turned it over 6 times.
I think Sonny Smith was very concerned about the way they were going to play tonight as far as turnovers were concerned. He's played an excellent first half, only 6 for them, and I think that's very complimentary.
Fascinating to us this morning. He said he so feared Steve Kerr's outside shooting. He wanted Edgar to get the ball. Edgar's gotten the ball.
And he's gotten the points.
Yes.
He has 12 in the first half, and that's not what Sonny Smith really expected. He wanted the ball to go inside. Edgar really has been devastating in the paint.
How about the play of Chuck Person? He started off slow, but then seemed to hit his stride.
Well, he missed his first 4 shots. He's beginning to come around. When he gets it cranked up, Vern, there isn't anybody better in the country.
Well, it's been a very well-played first half here in Long Beach. Arizona has the lead of 34-32, and we'll return with the second half after this word from your local station.
Tonight's West Region first round game is sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one. And by today's Chevrolet, who invites you to live the style, performance, and fun of Chevrolet in '86.
Halftime with the Arizona Wildcats enjoying a 2-point edge, 34-32. They were a little late getting back out onto the court for the second half because someone forgot to notify them it was time to come back out.
And I think it's a good idea for the officials to give them a little extra time here to warm up because they just now got it back on the floor.
John Edgar led the Wildcats in scoring with 12 points. He hit 6 of his 8 shots. Steve Kerr, after missing his first 4, came back and hit his next 4. He's 4 of 8. Sean Elliott hit the first 6 points of the game. Cook with 4, and Craig McMillan with 4. For For the Auburn Tigers, Chuck Person, after a slow start, missed his first 5 shots. He now has 8 points. Frank Ford with 6, Morris with 6, White with 6, Mike Jones off the bench with 4, and Jeff Moore has a couple.
You know, it's a little bit better distribution of the points for Auburn when they've got that type of scoring, even though Person's not going to reach his average of 21 and he keeps going at that rate. I think the better distribution will be a big plus for them in the end. There's Lute Olson right there. He was complaining vociferously to Joe Forte, the referee, saying, why didn't somebody come and tell us that the halftime was over with?
Lute Olson now owns Tucson. He's in his 3rd year there. The team had been 4-24 prior to his first year. Sonny Smith, now in his 8th year as the head coach of Auburn, has his team in the NCAA championship for the 3rd consecutive year. And he said this morning he didn't know whether that could ever have been accomplished. But he's kind of proud of that.
You know, Vernon, it's the only time Auburn's ever been to the NCAA tournament. He's taken them all 3 times.
Another final score, and how about this? Arkansas Little Rock knocks off Digger Phelps and Notre Dame 90-83.
Teams from the state of Indiana are having a struggle today.
That's right. So Cleveland State has been joined by Arkansas Little Rock as giant killers here in the first round. We had an excellent performance, by the way, from Montana State against St. John's. They really put on a heck of a show out of Bozeman, the only team with a less than 500 record, and they lost by only 9 earlier here tonight. They acquitted themselves admirably. Now Chris Morris as Auburn controls.
All right, you see Arizona, they've opened up again in that 2-3 zone and really basically match up out of it. You'll see them readjust and try to get to their players in the corner. There's Morris. That one was a little bit more conventional.
Yes, he left his feet and put a little arch on it. And we are tied at 34. Morris now with 8 points.
Sean Elliott, who started off so quickly in the first half, really sort of hit on us in the last 18 minutes of the first half.
Auburn's ball. Last touch by Anthony Cook.
You know, some coaches really like to talk about the opening few minutes of the second half. That first 3 or 4 minutes, how critical it is to establish the domination of the game. Right now, Auburn's gotten their first basket out of it with Chris Morris. Let's see if they can get the second one and the lead.
In the corner, Chuck Person. Too strong with Jeff Moore with the rebound. Stripped by Kerr. And Anthony Cook controls for Arizona. Tied at 34. Steve Kerr playing at about 60%. Having battled strep throat, but he can still shoot it.
You know what's happened? Auburn has made the adjustment in the second half, and they've gone back inside to get Edgar, and what that's going to do is free it up outside for Kerr even more. Oh, he's going to have a field day.
Steve Kerr now with 10. Joins Edgar in double figures. There's Chuck Person underneath, off the glass and in. And he's at double figures, first man there for Auburn. Tied again at 36. Just underway, early moments of the second half.
Auburn saying basically with their man-to-man defense, they don't want to make any adjustments.
Anthony Cook, freshman from Los Angeles. He's now got 6, and Arizona's on top. Auburn has never led in the game. And Chris Morris misfires on the slam dunk.
I tell you what was more amazing than that was the fact that he missed it and then turned around and almost got his own rebound.
Underneath, Jeff Moore, left-handed shot. Up, rebound taken by Gerald White. What a great move.
Oh, great play.
Tied again at 38. Sean Elliott has been a quiet factor in the game since a hot start. Lays it off to Anthony Cook. Fellow freshman gets 2. McMillan, by the way, for Arizona now has 6 assists in the game.
That was a great move by Elliott down inside to get Cook the ball. Look at those Arizona fans come to their feet.
Just under 17.5 minutes left to go in the game. Frank Ford looks it over.
Arizona matching up out of that defense. They open up 2-3, but they basically take a player, whoever is in the zone or closest to them.
Morris with Cook, a big rebound for the Wildcats. Frank Ford out on Steve Kerr, bounce pass underneath to Edgar. Draws the foul, he'll shoot 2. Foul is on Jeff Moore, number 40.
Yeah, it could be getting a little frustrating for that Auburn defense, because on the inside, Jeff Moore, who's been told to play behind inside on Edgar, now the ball's coming back inside. Now what does he do? Does he front? Does he ask for help and the guard drop back inside? Steve Kerr hopes so.
It all causes some confusion. Edgar, not a strong free throw shooter. As a team, Arizona hitting 71% from the line, and Edgar is hitting 69%. He has improved in the Pac-10 play the last 18 games to 76%. And he gets 1 of 2 here. A 3-point Arizona lead. Auburn has never led. Tigers up. You're going to get called every time on that.
When you reach around and you make the slap like that, as Kerr just did, you're going to get slapped with that personal foul. That's an interesting young man right there. You know, he was born in Beirut, Lebanon. A lot of people who follow the story about him, his dad was assassinated. He was president of American University over there. Tragic story, but he's come on and become just a tremendous young man. The people of Tucson have almost adopted him, the whole community.
Lute Olson said today he's everybody's son. Underneath, good pass from Frank Ford to Chuck Person. Shot is short. Rebound, Kerr of Arizona. They don't run and gun. Kerr will take the foul. And the foul will be on Anthony Cook underneath.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Chuck Person just walked by Jeff Moore and he said, "Get me the ball." I can read his lips. He says, "Get me the ball." You know, that's what happens. You take the guys who are leaders, the guys that are really competitors, like Person is. He says, "Give me the ball. I want it. I'll get us back in this game."
Gerald White across the timeline. Chuck Person has it now. Oh, there's a bad pass and a foul on Jeff Moore. And he becomes the first player in the game to draw 3 fouls.
And immediately goes to the bench.
Mike Jones will come in and substitute for him. It has been a relatively foul-free game.
Sonny Smith doing a little counseling right now with Jeff Moore. He also is the person who's had the guard on the inside, John Edgar, who's had a field day.
41-38. McMillan. Steve Kerr back to Sean Elliott. We're under the 16-minute mark. Foul away from the ball. Nope. There it is on Gerald White. Some confusion as to exactly who it was on. We are live in Long Beach, California, the Long Beach Arena, the final game of the first round of the NCAA championship, with Arizona meeting Auburn and enjoying a 3-point lead. I'm Vern Lundquist with Larry Conley.
Well, you see how quickly Jones got out there to Kerr in the corner?
Kerr's going to reset. Sean Elliott, the freshman, 6 points at the start of the game, hasn't had anything since. John Edgar back to McMillan, takes the long jumper. Elliott with a rebound. Oh, good touch. 8 points for the Tucson freshman.
That was freshman against freshman because Mike Jones was on the inside and he got the rebound and took it away from him.
The largest lead of the game midway through the first half was 6. Arizona is now back to a 5-point margin. There's a whistle. Sonny Smith looking on. Graduated from Milligan College in 1958. And the foul underneath apparently on Anthony Cook. How about that for an inbounds play? Mike Jones.
You know, oftentimes I see a lot of teams do that. When they zone the out-of-bounds play, which has been the tradition in the last couple of years by college basketball teams, they just seem to lob it into the middle of the zone, and with their back to that player, they don't see it ever go up.
Millen not there. Cook tries to get the rebound. Auburn controls, and here come the Tigers. Mike Jones gets 2 more. 8 points for Jones.
That was an excellent move because he had to stop on the dead run and shoot an 8-foot running jump shot.
John Edgar, guarded by Mike Jones, traveling. That is the 6th Arizona turnover, 7 for Auburn. It's been a dandy. We've got 14:26 remaining. Arizona leads, but only by 1.
second big upset. Notre Dame is ousted by Arkansas Little Rock of the Trans-America Conference. It was a horrible day for the state of Indiana. First the Hoosiers, and now Notre Dame goes to the sidelines. Let's go back to Vern.
Arizona leads at 43-42, but that lead had been 5 just a couple of minutes ago. Both teams shot better than 53% in the first half, and they're above 60 in this half. And Chuck Person now with 10 points and 5 rebounds.
And without question, going to be an NBA first-round draft choice. There are a lot of pro scouts will tell you around the country he's probably the best at his position there is.
Auburn Tigers with the chance to take the lead for the first time tonight. They trail by 1, 43-42.
Vern, you know, talk about the matchup zone defense. Watch the Arizona players pick a player within their particular zone to guard. Even if Auburn cuts a player through it, watch an Arizona player hand him over. Now, you see the center move over and take the guy in the paint, and the guy in the wing go out there to get wide. Now, watch him make another cut. Now they switch the players. They're still basically in a zone defense, but they're just handing the players over.
Foul called underneath. And Chuck Person will go to the line. Take another look at that.
It's kind of interesting zone defense because all they're doing is just handing the players over. You see the player on the wing right here go out. Now watch him cut to the corner. Now the guy on the wing for Arizona goes out. Now the center comes in. Auburn caught it, and they made the good pass inside. And now to the line goes Chuck Person, who's beginning to have a good ball game.
Will have a chance for the second. He's an 81% free throw shooter for the year and the 4th highest all-time Southeast Conference scorer. Averaging 18 points plus for his career at Auburn and 21 points this year.
Auburn now giving you a little bit different look. They've gone full court pressure, 2-2-1.
First time Arizona has trailed in the game, and it comes with just about 14 minutes to go. Back to Steve Kerr. A run of 6 consecutive points now for Auburn. McMillan. Back to Steve Kerr.
Good pass.
Sean Elliott.
Yes.
Arizona's back on top.
Steve Kerr, we've talked a lot about his scoring ability, but he leads this team in assists with 132. Just got a great one to Sean Elliott.
Frank Ford for the Auburn Tigers to Gerald White, quickly to Chris Morris. Underneath, Chuck Person prowls the sidelines, gets the bounce pass, takes the shot, and cans it.
Vern, you can't sit on a great player for too long. He's beginning to come out of that shell.
14 points now. And Auburn back on top for the second time in the game. Kept the pivot foot still, though Auburn called for a traveling violation. Sean Elliott.
Edgar wants that ball inside from Elliott, and he couldn't get it to him.
Anthony Cook does. Person with a rebound. Gerald White back to Person. He can shoot it from anywhere.
Did you see the fist go in the air?
Person has exploded. He's got 16 points. He has equaled his first half output. And Kerr calls for an offensive change.
Auburn going to stay in their man-to-man defense. They're not changing anything.
Sean Elliott, John Edgar. They collapse on him. Quickly out to McMillan. And the soft shot falls in.
That's where you need a balanced attack. When you've got good guards that can shoot from the outside and strong players to the inside. Auburn tried to help inside, and when they did, it left McMillan open from 15 feet.
48-47. Tigers the Auburn lead. 11:40 remaining in the game. Person again.
Look at
what a rebound! Oh, glory! Way up in the air. And it's a 3-point Auburn lead.
I tell you, he's guarding right now the best offensive player Arizona has, and that's Sean Elliott. Chris Morris playing a good ball game. Arizona with a turnover.
One of the few, and then a foul committed by Craig McMillan.
Vern, you kind of get the feeling the ball's beginning to move in the direction of Auburn.
Very definitely. Watch this.
We talked about Chris Morris. We know Person's going to get his, but here's the man that has to play for the Tigers. And boy, did he play on that one. Great tip in.
There is Chris Morris, sophomore, described by his own coach as a puzzle.
Vern, that young man played high school school basketball in Atlanta at Douglas High School. Was one of the great players to play in that city in the last couple of years.
Substitution now for Auburn. Terrence Howard has replaced Gerald White at the point guard. Here's Mike Jones, number 13, traveled. And Arizona will inbound.
Well,
Sean Elliott.
That was tough for Auburn because that would have given them a 5-point lead. Now Arizona with a chance to get it down to 1. It's been a good basketball game.
It really has been a good game. Pass from Anthony Cook, taken by Edgar. Loses it. Battles back. Still has it. Now loses it again. And the victor is Frank Ford.
Well, I tell you, he had it twice and lost it twice. I guess that counts as 2 turnovers.
I was just thinking that. Traveling, there's another turnover. Here in the second half, Arizona went on a surge and got out to a 5-point lead, but Auburn came back with 6 unanswered points to take the lead for the first time. Now substitution, Joe Turner, number 33, into the lineup for Arizona. Replaces John Edgar, number 50.
Consecutive turnovers right now by Mike Jones has really hurt Auburn also, because that could have been 4 extra points they could have put in their side.
5 turnovers this half for Arizona, 3 for Auburn. A 3-point Auburn lead, 10.5 to go in the game. Nice strong move by Sean Elliott. The shot also a little too strong, and Person with a rebound.
And we also noticed the domination that Chuck Person's beginning to have off of the backboard.
7 rebounds for Person now. There is Chuck Person. Time has been stopped, and I'm not sure why.
I can't figure out why either. The official's looking over at Sonny Smith and saying something.
I don't think there's a shot clock problem. There was a shot clock problem.
It was a shot clock, yes. They've reset it now to 43 seconds.
10:15 to go. First round game. Winner of this game goes on to meet St. John's on Sunday afternoon.
Change of defense. Arizona went straight man-to-man this trip.
Person with his 8th rebound and his 18th point.
Here he comes. When he gets ready to play, I'm telling you, he can crank it up and play as well as anybody in the country. I told you earlier, he said, "Get me the ball. I'll put us back in this game."
Well, he's the only senior starting for the Auburn Tigers.
Great.
Oh, what a move. The rebound by Cook. And McMillan will try and settle things down. There's the follow from Sean Elliott.
Boy, you got to love the way that freshman plays. He missed the stuff, waited about 10 seconds, went back and got McMillan's shot and stuffed it.
He just turned 18 a month ago. Here's Chuck Person. Cook with a rebound. He's had a good game off the boards.
Arizona beginning to make a little bit of a run now.
Rebounding edge still Auburn's, but it's close, 25-19. Elliott, too strong. Frank Ford gets the Auburn carry.
Looks like Auburn's going to slow the pace down a little bit now. Terrence Howard bringing it across midcourt, looked over at Sonny Smith, who held up 2 fingers. They're going to play number 2 against the man-to-man defense of Arizona.
Jeff Moore gets the assist, or the shot after the assist. 5-point Auburn lead. That's the largest they've enjoyed.
Burned 2 straight trips down the floor now. Arizona's been in a man-to-man defense. Looks like they're going to stay with that.
Oh, great play by Steve Kerr. Takes it all the way, lays it off. Joe Turner with 2. And that was Kerr all the way.
What makes this play is Steve Kerr. Watch the shot. It'll come off, front of the rim, back. Huh. How about that for a follow? Sean Elliott. Watch it again. It was McMillan who took the shot. You'll see it hit front, back. Look at Elliott come in and jam it. And folks, that was just a few seconds after he missed one.
Time has been called. It's a heck of a game. 2 remaining in this first round West Region encounter between Arizona and Auburn. Chuck Person with 10 points in this half. John Edgar, who had 12 at the half, leads Arizona, but only 1 in this half. And Sean Elliott now has doubled his first half output. If you're Lute Olson, do you change anything at this point in the game?
No, I think it's a little premature to try to go out and try to press this Auburn club, who's a little bit more experienced. Lute Olson's probably thinking, I need to get the ball a little bit more inside. Edgar's been a little bit quiet in the second half after having an outstanding first half.
Is that because Sonny Smith has changed his defensive tactics at all?
I think possibly so, but Arizona's also changed their defense. They're in a man-to-man and have been now for 3 trips down the floor.
Terrence Howard, number 10 for Auburn, and they caught Steve Kerr, number 25, with the foul. That's his third. He becomes the first Arizona Wildcat with 3 fouls.
Vern, I think they went to the other side. It's going to be Elliott on the inside.
They changed it. It sure is. Sean Elliott.
He was trying to guard Person, and that's going to be a difficult assignment for him inside because Person is such a strong player. Elliott not quite as strong as Person. It hit the backboard. It hit the backboard on the throw-in from out of bounds. Sonny Smith off the side of the bench, really upset.
He's arguing that the official underneath the basket didn't make the call.
I think the officials are conferring now. Sonny Smith was really upset with that call. The official, the far outside official, said the ball hit the back brace where the board is up, and if in fact it did, it goes back to Arizona.
Well,
and it is.
That's what happened. Greg McMillan has control of the ball now. Look for Steve Kerr left side. He slipped. Sean Elliott has it. Now the skip pass over to Kerr. Drives, puts up the jumper. Not there. And Sean Elliott drew the foul. Turnovers so far in the game. Auburn with 10, Arizona with 8. That's not bad. The points off the turnovers, Arizona with 8 and Auburn only 2.
Obviously Arizona able to capitalize on theirs where Auburn has not been able to. And now Arizona with 17 fouls is going to send Auburn to the free throw line for the rest of the game. Auburn with only 3 team fouls. It's a very important factor.
Anthony Cook will replace Joe Turner now for the Wildcats of Tucson. Chris Morris at the line where he is a 65% free throw shooter.
Done a nice job tonight. Not only has he done a good job of rebounding, but he's been given the assignment of guarding Sean Elliott, who's the best offensive player Arizona has.
Anthony Cook with another Arizona rebound. .740 and counting remaining in the game.
Both clubs have been stuck on this 54-51 score for some time.
McMillan will shoot a couple. Chuck Person gets the foul. That's his second. Largest Arizona lead was 6 in the first half. The largest Auburn lead has been 5.
Sonny Smith, the coach at Auburn, told us today the 2 things that he really feared from this Arizona club. One was their patience. He said they're really a good club and they don't turn the ball over very much. And the second thing was the outside shooting to McMillan and Kerr. And it's pretty well been confirmed, at least on Kerr's standpoint.
Misses the second. And Auburn has a chance to regain a 4-point lead now. 54-52.
Auburn being somewhat more cautious with the basketball. Now Arizona looking for a double team out front.
Gerald White to Frank Ford. Chuck Person in the far corner. White heads toward him, gets him the ball.
You can see Kerr on the point of that zone. Wherever the ball goes wing to wing, Kerr will be the double teamer with whoever is on the wing. In most cases, that is McMillan and Elliott.
Person. What a rebound by Anthony Cook, or John Edgar rather. Here's Sean Elliott. He'll take the shot and pin it.
Freshmen have no fear. Look at a tie ball game.
Elliott has 14 points, 6:38 to go and counting down. Jeff Moore. Steve Kerr with an Arizona rebound. Bounce pass inside. Edgar, strong move. Rebound, Chuck Person. 8 rebounds for Person.
Gerald White says, let's slow it down and take a look and see what we've got. Sonny Smith off the bench holding up 4 fingers. They're going to run play number 4 against the Arizona man-to-man.
Quickly give and go back to Gerald White, and he hits it from long range.
But that's play number 4. They need to run it more often.
That's right. We've got an injury timeout. Chris Morris limps over to the bench.
Injured player number 24, Chris Morris. Substitution for Auburn, number 15, Mike Jones.
Mike Jones will replace Chris Morris. That happened away from the ball.
Not quite sure where the injury is located. Looks like it was on the lower part of his leg.
And he's already playing with a broken nose.
Boy, he is in some pain.
Mike Jones takes his place.
You can see it right there. It's on the lower part of his right leg. I don't think it's his ankle.
Sean Elliott, number 32. Gerald White tries to get it from behind and then retreats.
It's really funny. When White started after the basketball, the Arizona crowd started yelling.
John Edgar at the free throw line to McMillan. Underneath to Edgar. They collapse on him. Nearly stolen by Frank Ford.
Gerald White and Frank Ford have got a pair of great hands. Gotta get rid of it quick.
Edgar rejected by Mike Jones. Under 6 minutes. Auburn trailed by 2 at the half. Got the lead for the first time midway through the second half. Jeff Moore. Mike Jones, Frank Ford. Person will take it.
And make it.
He's got 20. Just 1.5 below his season average. Sonny Smith looks up at the clock, which is winding down with 4:50 to go in the game. And a 4-point Auburn lead.
Auburn still in their man-to-man defense. Boy, Jones is having a difficult time trying to control Elliott inside. He wants the basketball. With good reason. He's got a couple of inches on Jones.
Kerr will shoot a couple. Third foul on Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, a very bulky player, 6'7", 220 pounds, from Columbus, Georgia. Very near Auburn. It's only about 12 miles away, and very fertile recruiting ground for Auburn. They've gotten a number of good athletes out of there. McMillan, who went inside that tall timber, decided to throw up that shot, and he drew the foul.
Craig McMillan, who's hitting 84% for the season from the free throw line. This is the first of 2.
Yeah, we talked about players with broken noses. McMillan also broke his earlier in the year.
That's right. One out of 2 for Craig McMillan. He's got 8 points for the game. That shaves the margin down to 3. Timeout has been called with 4:36 remaining, and Auburn leading by a trio of points. We are live in Long Beach, California, the Long Beach Arena. Vern Lundquist and Larry Conley. An excellent basketball game. As Seth Dempsey, the athletic director at the University of Arizona, looks on. He is our NCAA representative here. No pressure on him to get his team in the tournament.
His club won the Pac-10 championship.
And John Kasser, the athletic director at Cal State Long Beach. He and Seth Dempsey both worked in the athletic department at the University of Houston. And John, at one point, was an assistant coach to Lute Olson at Marina High School here in Long Beach, California, back in '63 and '64. Sometimes a small world. A 3-point Auburn lead. They trail by 2 at the half. They trail by as many as 6 in the first half.
Well, it's getting down toward that time where Arizona's going to have to start to begin to make some decisions about what they're going to do offensively. But let's look at it from the wide angle right now. You can see Arizona's back into that matchup. No, they've gone straight man-to-man again.
Don't forget in the post-game show, Brent Musburger back in New York, scores and highlights of all of today's action, and look forward to our NCAA triple header on CBS tomorrow, and then another 3 games televised nationally on Sunday. Of course, all of the games will be televised on through the NCAA championship in Dallas in a couple of weeks.
12 seconds left on the shot clock. Jones saw it.
Battle for the rebound. Finally, Jeff Moore will have a chance for 3.
Oh, that could be a big one right there. Jeff Moore got it up, and he got hammered and still got it in.
You saw Sonny Smith, and at the other side, Lute Olson had his hands up to his head.
Watch the miss right here. That was more than missed. Watch the ball carry him off the backboard. He gets it, goes back up, gets fouled, still is able to get it off and get it down the bottom. Look at Mike Jones. Did he get up in the air?
Maybe the biggest play of the game.
No question at this point. Jumps it up there. They got a 61-55 lead.
With 3:53 remaining in the ball game. Greg McMillan. Underneath to Sean Elliott. Well,
foul's going to be on Person. He can't afford to take one. You know, that was just, they've got 5 team fouls. Person committed the foul before Elliott can make the move. I thought that was an intelligent move on his part. Commit the foul, don't allow him to go inside. It's on the floor. Common foul, and Arizona gets the ball out of bounds.
That is the 3rd foul on Chuck Person, so the basket is negated.
But on the next foul, Arizona will get the 1-and-1.
Steve Kerr. Mike Jones quickly got out to guard him, so he didn't take the shot.
Auburn out of their man-to-man. They're back into his zone defense now.
Less than 3.5 remaining in the game. Sean Elliott lays it off to John Edgar. Good pass from Elliott. 4-point margin. 15 points for John Edgar. Lute Olson looks at the clock and then looks out on the court.
Auburn is getting to the point now where every shot is important. Every handling of the basketball is important. And Jones got it.
Mike Jones in double figures off the Auburn bench. He's got 10. Back to a 6-point edge. John Edgar back to McMillan.
Good help that time from Ford. Got back inside and gave Moore some help against Edgar.
Jeff Moore way up in the air. Auburn rebound.
You know the guy who's really surfaced? Jeff Moore. He got the 3-point play, a big rebound right there.
Sophomore out of Birmingham, a 6-point edge for Auburn with 2:30 to go.
Might have been a little bit impatient with their shot selection. There's Moore again.
That's his 12th rebound. Beg your pardon. He had 11 rebounds. And that is his 9th point.
Boy, a guy that all of a sudden has just come out of nowhere. Jeff Moore. Another rebound.
That's his 12th. I'm getting too many signals simultaneously here. 12 rebounds for Jeff Moore, along with 9 points. And he has really come to the surface in the last 6 minutes of the game. Now watch Auburn use as much of that shot clock as they can.
No doubt about that. There's under 2 minutes to play.
Well,
how about impatience on offense? I thought Person threw up a bad shot. But they got it back. Auburn with 36 rebounds. Arizona with 20.
And that edge has been increased in the last 5 minutes of the game. Now Steve Kerr draws the foul. That's his 4th. Arizona bench looking on. What a young team this is.
You see both those guys look up at the clock. With only 1 minute and 35 seconds left to play.
Time has been called with 1 minute 35 remaining. A strong Auburn second half has given them an 8-point edge with 1:35 remaining. Long Beach, California, the Long Beach Arena, this first round West Region encounter between Arizona and Auburn, and a very strong second half for Auburn.
And the young man who's been doing it has been Jeff Moore. Here's one of his 12 rebounds that he's got in this basketball game. And if he's got 12 of them, that's 1/3 of the Auburn total.
Arizona stayed close in rebounding in the first half, but the boards have been owned by the Auburn Tigers in the second half, particularly by Jeff Moore. And the biggest play of the game so far was that 3-point effort when he put up the shot and was fouled.
Yeah, we talked a lot about Chuck Person and the great game he's had, and he really has had a good ball game. But the last 5 minutes, it's been that man right there, Jeff Moore, who has surfaced. He's become the guy who really deserves the medals.
It has been his effort which has led to the 8-point margin. Gerald White at the line. Can't get it.
They fouled the right guy. White with the miss. Arizona now with a chance to get it to 6.
Back to Steve Kerr. They can't waste much time. McMillan Tries to draw the foul while taking the shot, but the rebound goes to Jeff Moore, 13 for the game. And he is fouled from behind. Third foul on Craig McMillan. Jeff Moore goes back to the free throw line. He's averaging 7 rebounds per game. He's got 13 tonight. Oh, he's been a factor here at the end of the game. Into double figures with 10 points. And it looks like it might be over for Arizona. Gets them both. This Auburn team made the final 16 last year before losing to North Carolina down in Birmingham. Sean Elliott hits the jumper and calls timeout. And the timeout comes with 1:14 remaining, but Auburn still leads by 8. Here in Long Beach, California, this West Region encounter between Arizona and Auburn. And it would appear, Larry Conley, that Auburn is going to advance against and meet St. John's on Sunday in another good start in the NCAA championship for Sonny Smith and the Auburn Tigers.
It's almost like deja vu. You know, last year they had a big win against Purdue and Kansas, which got them into the Southeastern Regionals against North Carolina in Birmingham. That man right there was the one who fashioned that great record last year, and it seems like he's moving back in that same direction. Because he's got a big roadblock. He hasn't won this one yet. And if he does win it, he's got St. John's.
And for the other side, Arizona, very young team, preseason pick, 8th in the Pac-10, but they won their first Pac-10 championship and played a good, strong game for much of the game here. Trailing now by 8 with just about a minute remaining.
Excuse me, Brian. I was going to say Arizona and Lute Olson have got their quick club in there now. They've got Lofton and Cooper in the lineup. 2 guys who don't have any fouls and the opportunity really to utilize them. Now they're going to take them out, and it looks like, yeah, it is. Can't say it. Kerr's going to come back in the ballgame.
And John Edgar also comes back in. John Edgar, the only senior starting for the Arizona team. There's Steve Kerr. He's got 1 more year left. Also carried a 3.4 grade point average last semester, which ain't too nasty.
Kind of interesting, too. You know, his mother teaches English at American University in Cairo, Egypt.
Frank Ford at the line.
Lute Olson right now, he's got Cooper and Lofton sitting on the sidelines waiting. You got Kerr and Edgar out here who just replaced them, and just as soon as they get the ball back, if they have an opportunity to dead ball, Edgar and Kerr will go back out. You see Lofton and Cooper come back in the game for quickness.
Steve Kerr to Craig McMillan. Under a minute remaining in the final first-round game. Sean Elliott, timeout call. Elliott now with 18 points. Well, Lute Olson's Arizona team, the surprise of the Pac-10, and it's going to be another drought for the Pac-10, it would appear, as Washington was defeated yesterday and Arizona about to be knocked out by Auburn. And for an update, let's go to New York now and Brent Musburger.
Vern, and of course, coming up right after your action, we're going to have all the scores and the highlights. Would you believe that both number 3 seeds from the state of Indiana were knocked off today? The Hoosiers were upset by Cleveland State. And then tonight in Little Rock, they have eliminated the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. They were the 3rd seed in the Midwest. And we'll have all the scores and highlights for you right after this game. And right now, let's send you back to Vern.
All right, Brent, we look forward to that. It's going to be a bad day for basketball in the state of Indiana. Unbelievable.
That doesn't happen very often. There's Chris Morris right there. He's nursing that very tender right leg. He's got ice. It looks like on the back of the calf. I'm wondering if somebody did kick him. Oftentimes when you get an injury like that, it's because somebody inadvertently kicked you in the muscle or in the calf. I think maybe that's what's happening. It's like Sonny Smith's going to take him out of the basketball game right now and let him sit over there.
Lute Olson, completing his 3rd year at Arizona, with Steve Kerr, who apparently will not play the remainder of the game.
A young man right there that nobody wanted. Lute Olson took a chance on him, and what did he do? He helped him win a Pac-10 championship. It's a fine young man right there.
Less than a minute remaining.
Person's in trouble.
Call timeout just before the 5 seconds elapsed. And Sonny Smith with just a hint of a grin. Auburn leads by 8, and time has been called. Final 54 seconds of this final game in the first round from Long Beach, California. And it will be the Auburn Tigers going on to meet St. John's on Sunday afternoon. I want to thank our NCAA committee representative, Seth Dempsey, also John Cassidy, the director of athletics at Long Beach, our media coordinator, Shane Schroeder, Kay Don, the associate athletic director at Long Beach, and our timeout coordinator, Dennis Farrell, statistician Dave Yaggy, and really, Larry, our entire crew, because they have been working all 4 games today, and that makes for a long day of basketball.
Indeed it does. Been a fun day, though. Tomorrow we get down to 32.
Auburn leading Arizona by 8 with 54 seconds to go.
Now the positioning right there by the offensive club. You see them lined up. Auburn trying to get the basketball in. Person had difficulty on the last attempt. Let's see if he can get it in now. Again, he's got trouble.
Mike Jones is fouled immediately by Craig McMillan, and that's 4 on McMillan.
Smart play by Arizona right there, and McMillan. He got over there and got to Mike Jones, so there was only a couple of ticks off the clock.
And the clock apparently kept running. I think that's what happened. Lute Olson looked up at the clock and said they didn't stop it. 54, you can read his lips.
And if you can, he's putting up fingers. 5 on one hand and 4 on the other.
And Sonny Smith is arguing at the other side, but he's doing so in a jocular mood.
Nothing joking about that man right there. He's staying in this game. He's a competitor. Had great success. You know, he took Iowa to 5 NCAA tournament plays, and right now with 52 seconds to play.
Well, they've compromised, and they've set it at 52. There's Sonny Smith. Mike Jones gets the first. 11 points for Jones.
Had a good game off the bench. He's played very well off the bench.
Has 12 points, a 9-point Auburn lead. They'll finally get the clock started again. Alley-oop attempt. That's out of bounds. It'll be Auburn's ball.
Here come those other 2 players, Lofton and Clipper back in. Out go Edgar and Kerr.
Brent Musburger scores and highlights and a preview of what to expect tomorrow on CBS as we continue our coverage of the NCAA championship. And again, look at Sonny Smith. Look at Lute Olson.
Arizona doing a terrific job with that press. They just are not allowing Auburn to inbound the ball.
As we said, our crew has been here all day long. The executive producer of NCAA Sports is Kevin O'Malley. Tonight's game produced by Rick LaCivita and directed by John McDonough. Our associate producer, Scott Johnson. Field technical manager, Oscar Vettel. Production supervisor, Suzanne Turner, and our broadcast associate, Suzanne Smith. Plus all the rest of our technical crew that has done such a great job in working all 4 games, and will be back with us for the St. John's Auburn game on Sunday.
Well, you know, when you look at these 2 basketball teams, number 8 seed and number 9 seed in the West, you expect a close basketball game, and that's basically what we had here today. I think the NCAA committee did a great job of pairing these 2 clubs up. And we had the opportunity to see 2 teams I think that played extremely well in this basketball game. They shot well, but they also handled the basketball well. Right now, Auburn, I think, on the strength of the play of Jeff Moore and Chuck Person, really came to the forefront, and they've been the club that really has dominated in the second half. They started off the first 3 or 4 minutes, really got them going. Now they're picking it up, and it looks like they're going to walk into this next game.
And they go up against the St. John's with a hobbled Walter Berry.
That could be a big problem for the Red Men. I know Luke Carnesecca very concerned about that injury.
Not only that, but they've lost Baldy, of course, so they've got and then no bench strength for St. John's.
We said tonight there were more guys sitting there with suits on the bench than there were players in uniform.
There go the soft drinks. There goes my wife's pretty new sweater. Oh, the cleaning bill.
It was a great pass. Nancy just couldn't get a hold of it.
I'm telling you, it absolutely crushed the soft drink can. Well, there we are, but the important one is the bride down at the other side. It was a little wet right there.
Good play by Person to keep it alive. Ford to keep it alive. There's the foul committed. Looks like it's Eric Cooper that's going to get it.
37 seconds to go.
First personal.
Steve Kerr back in, along with John Edgar.
You know, this really sets up an interesting matchup tomorrow. St. John's, who played here tonight, and had a very difficult time with Montana State. I don't know if they were looking past them or whether they just were flat. But Walter Berry probably is one of the better players at his position in the country. He's going to go up against Chuck Person, who is also the same type player. And St. John's tonight played basically the man-to-man defense, and they played it extremely well. And I'd be interested to know if Berry's going to match up against Person on Sunday. That'd be a great, great matchup.
I think overall the game is going to be pretty competitive. 73-61. Auburn is taking this one apart here in the final 3 minutes. There's Sean Elliott with 2 more, and another timeout is called. Elliott has 20 points now. Timeout has been called, and while that timeout is being taken, why don't we take a look back at this NCAA memory?
It's a dream come true for any player who gets that far. I think every player, when you're a kid out in your backyard, dreams of making the final shot or even at least getting a chance to take a shot in the Final Four. I was lucky to be involved with probably one of the greatest teams ever played the game at Indiana, and then to come here and have what happened was a bonus for us to go on that roll that year at such a young age that we were able to do it. But I'll certainly cherish both of those moments equally.
One of the reasons Bob Bender transferred was because he felt he wasn't getting enough playing time at Indiana, and in fact, he became a starter at Duke. And that's another of the special memories we're going to be bringing you throughout this NCAA tournament. Final 31 seconds coming up in Long Beach. Let's go back to Vern Lundquist. Vern?
Okay, Brent, thank you very much. A 10-point lead now, 73-63. As we near the conclusion of this game, Auburn and Arizona. And until Jeff Moore and Chuck Person went on a streak midway through the second half, it was a very close ball game.
Arizona with no more timeouts, and Auburn with but one.
There's Frank Ford fouled in the backcourt, so he'll go to the line. As Ken Lofton took the foul, number 11. And Edgar and, Steve Kerr and Joe Turner come back in now for the Arizona Wildcats.
And that took exactly 1 tick of the clock. You know, college teams have gotten very proficient at managing that clock. You know, we used to talk about the football teams in the 2-minute drill. We're getting to be about like that in college basketball now.
I think this last 3-minute segment has taken about 16 minutes, as a matter of fact. Misfires in the front end of the 1-and-1. Steve Kerr to Craig McMillan.
You don't foul, you let them do what they want. Ball goes out. It's going to go to Arizona. Oh,
Auburn. And Lute Olson can't believe it. Now it's going to be overruled. Boy, there's a man of dignity. Lute Olson. And we've got one more substitution to come into the game. Bruce Wheatley, number 45, freshman from Los Angeles. 6'9", 240-pounder will come in, replacing Joe Turner. Ball is stolen, knocked out of bounds by McMillan. It'll be Auburn's ball. 17 seconds to go. .63-63. Another substitution now as Cooper and Lofton come back in. Bruce Haskin, number 24, is also coming in. David Haskin, beg your pardon. And Anthony Cook will sit down.
They can't seem to decide who wants to play and who doesn't.
I think the only player who hasn't played for Arizona now is Rolf Jacobs. Sean Elliott, 3 more years left. He just turned 18. He's got 20 points tonight. Well, now Sonny Smith is going to substitute. Johnny Lynn, number 14, will come in. Sophomore from Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Become a game of substitutions.
Well, we got a couple more. 3 more, as a matter of fact.
Here comes Arizona with another one.
Yeah, they're going to clear the benches now. Rolf Jacobs comes in. He was the last one from Arizona.
There's a happy man, Chuck Person. And he should be. He's advancing tomorrow or Sunday to play St. John's.
Gary Godfrey has also come in for Auburn, another senior on the squad. And Johnny Lynn draws the foul. He'll get to go to the line. There's Rolf Jacobs, the last man in for Arizona.
When you look at the tournament, you know, across the country right now, there basically have only been 2, I think, major upsets right now. Arkansas Little Rock with a big win over Notre Dame. Cleveland State with their win over Indiana. But every year, you always have a couple of clubs that come like that, come to the forefront. It'll be interesting to see who's going to make the regionals after Saturday and Sunday. We get down to that final 16.
Johnny Lynn at the line as we continue to try and unravel the final 20 seconds of the game. Doesn't get it. Weatherly with a rebound for Arizona. Stolen. Back it comes to Johnny Lynn. He'll take the shot. Too strong. And at long last, it is over as Sonny Smith's Auburn Tigers show a strong second half and defeat Lute Olson's Arizona Wildcats. They do so by 10 points.
It was a good ball game. I thought both clubs played well. Auburn just kind of pulled out in the second half and began to stretch it out, and they did it basically on the play of Person and Jeff Moore.
73-63, the final score. Let's run down the leading scorers. Sean Elliott, the freshman, with 20 points. John Edgar, though, when the game was still in doubt, was really strong with 15 points. Kerr had 10. Cook, McMillan with 8 each, and Turner with 2. Chuck Person came on in the second half with 20. Mike Jones off the bench with 12, and the leading rebounders, Jeff Moore, had 13 rebounds, and that really was the story of the second half. He in Person commanding those boards.
It was a tremendous second half for Moore and Person. They came on, and that was the reason Auburn won the game.
73-63, the final. Auburn goes on to meet St. John's, and we're going to go on and introduce you once again to Brent Musburger in our New York studios.
All right, Vern, as a result of that win by Auburn, the Southeast Conference, like the Big East, still unbeaten in this particular tournament. Both conferences are now 4-0. Our Chevrolet most valuable players of this game, from Arizona, John Edgar, and from Auburn, Chuck Person. Now, tomorrow, triple header coverage for everybody. We'll start at high noon. Michigan State and Scott Skiles up against that pressure defense of the Hoyas of Georgetown at 12 noon. Then the Pacific Network joins us for the second game. Many of you will see Duke against Old Dominion. LSU will be taking on Memphis State down in Baton Rouge, and Kansas goes up against Temple. Then game 3 for most of you in our triple header. It'll be Villanova, the defending national champions, against Georgia Tech. We'll also cover DePaul against Oklahoma, and Bradley taking on Louisville. And for those of you on the Pacific Network, you will still have a third game, UAB against North Carolina. Of course, all of you folks in Alabama and North Carolina will see that. We're going to come back. We've got some interviews coming your way. We'll take a look at scores and highlights of this day 2 of this NCAA tournament, and we'll do that right after these messages from your local stations.
beat Arizona 73-63. They did so with a very strong second-half performance, especially off the board. And we're here with the coach, Sonny Smith. Looks like you had a senior who said, I think we need to get going in this game.
Well, he's done that for us for 4 years. He's been a great player. Against Kentucky one night, he goes like 9 for 9 in the second half. And he's an excellent player, and he can do a lot of things. Hit the free throws, rebound, do everything.
Sonny, we will let you enjoy this, but look forward, if you will, to Sunday. You've got St. John's. How do you think you'll match up with them?
Well, I don't think anybody matches up great with them. I think they have a tremendous basketball team. They're very physical, have a great inside game, and the point guard is great. Anytime you got the great point guard and the great inside player, then the other people playing the role as they do, you got a tremendous team, and they showed that during the regular season.
Well, that senior is standing by with Larry Conley. Here's Chuck Person.
Thank you, Vern. Chuck, you had a great basketball game tonight, particularly in the second half. I thought you and Jeff Moore really carried the club.
Jeff and myself came out a little flat in the first half. Coach Smith jumps a little bit at halftime. We came out for the second half and did a great job on the boards.
You look like you were the one that came out and said, get me the basketball. I want to win this game.
Yes, we're behind, and then the game's on the line. The players look for me, and I want the ball in the crucial situations.
How do you feel about going up against Walter Berry on Sunday?
Walter Berry's a tremendous player. He's the Wooden Player of the Year. And then a great coach, Luke Carnesuk, and they have an overall excellent team, so it's going to be tough Sunday night.
You had a great year last year. You won those first 2 games in the NCAA tournament. You got to play North Carolina. They got you. You kind of feel like you're moving in that same direction?
Well, last year we were a Cinderella team, win one for Coach Smith, hoping he'll stay at Auburn. But this year we can't sneak up on anyone. We have to play our hearts out just to get a W.
Great, Chuck. Thank you. Vern?
Thank you.
All right, Larry, Chuck, and Sonny, congratulations. It was a heck of a game and a fine effort for Auburn. Now let's go back to New York and Brent Musburger.
All right, Vern, thank you. And so Auburn wins 73-63 over Arizona. And again, as they pointed out, St. John's will be the next foe. They got past a very gutsy Montana State Bobcat team, 83-74, 31 points in that game for Walter Berry. Maryland hangs on against Pepperdine, 69-64, and UNLV also advances out west, 74-51. These 2 games will be played in Long Beach on Sunday afternoon, the St. John's Auburn game and also the Maryland UNLV game. Now, the Midwest region. In Minneapolis, a shocker, Arkansas Little Rock over Notre Dame, 90-83 was the final in this one. Big second half as things heated up. Watch Michael Clark pick it up and lay it in, and Little Rock had a 9-point lead. Now the alley-oop pass coming up. It'll be David Rivers to Ken Barlow, and that cut the lead down to 5 points. Digger Phelps had a shot down the stretch, but then Pete Myers hit a baseline jumper, got fouled, and the 3-point play kept the Trojans in command. And Digger Phelps could not believe what was happening to his 3rd-seeded Irish. And meanwhile, Coach Newell and his staff, they celebrate that stunner in Minneapolis this afternoon, or this evening, I should say, 90-83. Pete Myers had 29 points for the winners in that game. North Carolina State, they struggled, but they hung on. 66-64 was the final. Jimmy Valvano, who won it a few years ago, is back in the hunt again. Now watch Sir Jamalot Wright go baseline for the Hawkeyes, and Nate McMillan had help here from Chris Washburn. It was Washburn's inside game that got the job done for Valvano. Here he is thundering another one home, and George Raveling had no way to stop Washburn down low. Here comes Chris again. He wound up here with 18 points for the game. And Jim Valvano knows just how tough it is when it comes down to pressure time in the NCAA.
30,000 people out there, the first-round NCAA on the line. All of a sudden, and I'd like to see a lot of you guys do the 2-foot putts that you make sometimes in the summer, you know, when you're playing for $5. It's hard. It's hard.
All right, Jimmy advances 66-64. Iowa State in overtime, 81-79 over Miami, Ohio. And Michigan struggles against Akron and finally prevails in that one, 70-64. So in Minneapolis on Sunday will be these 2 games. North Carolina State goes against Arkansas Little Rock. Iowa State will take on Michigan. Let me say something about that setting out there. I know that Minneapolis is seeking a Final Four, and they have done a sensational job with that arena. They had a great crowd for those games. And, of course, having Iowa play, Iowa State and the Hawkeyes certainly help with the attendance, but that arena is going to make a strong bid for a Final Four someday. And we will continue on the road to the Final Four in Dallas in just a moment. Winner over Davidson 75-55. Western Kentucky will be next for the Wildcats. They beat Nebraska 67-59. Mo Iba resigns as the Nebraska coach after that setback. Alabama, the Southeastern winner, 97-80 over Xavier this afternoon. Illinois of the Big Ten 3-3 so far in this tournament, 75-51 over Fairfield. And these two games will be played in Charlotte, and again they'll be played on Sunday afternoon. Kentucky goes against Western Kentucky. Good grudge match there. Western Kentucky will be sky high for that one, and Alabama will take on Illinois. Now in the East in Syracuse, the home team wins easily as expected, 101-52 over the Ivy League champions. Navy, Dave Robinson, 30 points in this game. Navy-Syracuse going to be a very interesting game, but it'll be very tough for the midshipmen up there in the Carrier Dome. Cleveland State stuns the Hoosiers, 83-79, and so Bob Knight, who has won 2 national championships, has been knocked out in the first round. The state of Indiana goes 0 for 4 in the tournament, and it was this young man, Clinton Ramsey, who did the job for the Vikings all game long. Indiana started to stage a comeback, but again it was Ramsey on an acrobatic move, and the bench of Cleveland State knew that they had pulled off the upset, and Coach Kevin Mackey was the happiest man in Syracuse.
This was a great one for Cleveland. This was a great one for the off-Broadway guys against the primetime guys.
Hey, the off-Broadway guys have done very well in this tournament. Forget about Brown. They got blown out, but how's some of these other performances? Cleveland State, of course, with a win, and also Arkansas Little Rock. Now, St. Joe's with a 1-point win over Richmond, 60-59 is the final. And so in the East, these two games now will be played Sunday afternoon up in the Carrier Dome. St. Joe's goes against Cleveland State, and Navy will take on Syracuse. And while we're talking about Sunday, here is our lineup, and a reminder to all of you along the Pacific Network, you will start with us at 9 a.m. President Reagan, of course, is going to be making a speech on Sunday evening, so we're going to start the entire nation at 12 Eastern or 9 Pacific. Many of you will watch Navy, Syracuse, or Alabama, Illinois. That's just the start of the tripleheader, because after that, most of you will watch Western Kentucky against Kentucky. I think that's going to be one of the best games on Sunday, or you will see Arkansas Little Rock against North Carolina State, and Cleveland State will try to make it 2 in a row. They'll go up against St. Joe's. And then later on Sunday, the tripleheader, Auburn against St. John's, Person takes on Berry, or Iowa State against Michigan. Johnny Orr, of course, once coached Michigan into the Final Four. Now he goes into Minneapolis to see if he can beat his former school. And we will continue by taking a look at some of the women's action on the road to the Final Four right after these messages from your local stations.
This is CBS.
Penn State 63-59. So on the road to the championship down in Lexington, Kentucky. Penn State next will play the winner of the Villanova-Rutgers game, and that, of course, is in the East Regional. Texas, the top-seeded team in the women's tournament this year. They defeated Missouri 108-67, and also in the Midwest, Auburn over Southern Illinois rather easily 61-39. Taking a look at that, Texas will be matched against the winner of Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and Auburn will take on the winner of Drake, Mississippi. Now, in the Mideast region right now, we can see that Georgia, Illinois, they will be playing tomorrow, and also out west, of course, USC will go up against the Grizzlies of Montana. Now, for us tomorrow, we're going to start our triple header at noon, and the key game has Georgetown taking on Michigan State. And I don't have to tell you what the key to that one is. Scott Skiles, who had the 31 points against Washington, how will he handle that hounding pressure defense that the Hoyas of Georgetown will throw at him? Look for David Wingate to take Skiles in a little one-on-one configuration tomorrow. Now, also in the Midwest plate at Dayton, you're going to see a team that I think is as impressive right now as any in the country. That is Kansas, coached by Larry Brown, taking on Temple. Temple, of course, got past Jacksonville in overtime. Speaking of Larry Brown, he once took UCLA into the Final Four. We have got right now 16 coaches, or half of the field left, who have all been to the Final Four as coaches, either with the schools that they now are with or with other teams. In the East tomorrow at Greensboro, Duke struggled against Mississippi Valley State. Are they ready to demonstrate that they deserve to be the top-seeded team in the country? We will find out when they go up against Old Dominion, coached by Tom Young, who once took Rutgers into a Final Four. DePaul, Oklahoma, another fascinating matchup here. Are the Blue Demons coming back? Are they going to show some strength late in the year? And how about Oklahoma? Tim McAllister, who was suspended for the first game against Northeastern, he rejoins that Sooner lineup. So those two games are in the East region. Now, meanwhile, in the Southeast, in a very interesting matchup here, Memphis State. Very talented team, but they go into the Tigers' den. They must play Dale Brown and LSU at home. How will they handle that? We'll find out. Villanova and Georgia Tech. Can Raleigh Massimino do it again? He has now coached Villanova to 7 straight wins in the NCAA, including that dramatic victory over Georgetown in last year's final. But Georgia Tech is the top seed in the Southeast. If they can get past this one, they can head back to Atlanta for some home cooking and some home games down there in the regional final. Out west, we'll go back out to Ogden. It'll be Alabama, Birmingham, and North Carolina. Are the Tar Heels back? Are they healthy? Are they ready to make a move? We'll find out. A lot of people think that UAB may be one of the sleepers in the field right now. And Bradley, they won 22 straight games this year before they were beaten by Tulsa in the Missouri Valley final. How good are they? And can they handle the Louisville pressure? Right now, Louisville, like Kansas, right at the top of the game. Those two schools are playing excellent basketball, and so